so for today's episode, we are sitting down with Laura Greene, and Laura is another incredible woman that I met at Natalie's Rural Rooted retreat, and she has an incredible story and an incredible business that she does in conjunction with her family, and I think you guys are really going to like what she has to tell you about all of that and all the other fun things that she has going on. So Laura, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself to get things started today.
Yes. My name is Laura Greene, and my family and I live in northeastern Minnesota in a rural community. I'm actually a teacher full time, but just within the last 5 years, my husband and I created our business called Wood Pallet Treasures, and we don't have any business background at all. It was just something that we decided to go for, and it was just going to be a little hobby business. And next thing you know, we're also doing that full time as well. So it's been quite an adventure. But Wood Pallet Treasures basically started with us just making a few items out of, upcycling wood from old pallets and barn wood. And Travis is a carpenter by trade. And, so it just was really a natural skill for him. He builds a lot of the things in our home. And people just started taking interest to it. Like, wow, that's really creative. It's just started with like a wine rack. And next thing you know, I thought, well, you're getting so many requests. Why don't I just, put us on Etsy and just, see where that takes us. And now it's, we build pretty much anything and everything. A lot of home decor, wall decor, signs. We've done pallet walls, headboards, you name it. We've built it basically. So it just, our kids are part of the process. We find, haul, cut pallets. They're in charge of using all the tools, cutting the boards apart. We sand them down. And most of our orders are on Etsy. Of course, we have a lot of local orders as well, but it's amazing. We ship nationwide, and we're extremely busy, but it's been really fun having a family business like that.
Yeah.
And of course, my new adventure is, and I don't know if we want to talk about that now too, but something that I've always been really passionate about as a teacher is just hands-on experiential learning and getting kids outside. And I got my master's degree a few years ago, and I had an environmental certificate, and I took a lot of classes, outdoor learning and building outdoor classrooms. And so I took on that project at our school. I built an outdoor classroom in hopes that it would really take off with this nature-based learning. But of course, that's really hard in the public school when you have a curriculum that you need to follow, and you have administration that's driving certain policies. And so it was really hard for just kind of a one-man show to do that. But I still have been really passionate about it. And I just thought, what are some ways that I can take what I love about teaching and then actually do what it is that I want to do, which is experiential learning. And even with Wood Pallet Treasures, we've had Girl Scouts come into the shop, and we've taught them how to use tools, and we've helped them construct some really cool things for their bedrooms. And that's been so fun. It was valuable learning, and but it benefited all of us. And so I thought that's what we really want to do. So how can we take, my education degree and what we do with Wood Pallet Treasures and then turn it into some really awesome experiences for kids? And you've probably heard of farm school.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing right now. And so, we live on a little hobby farm here. We have goats and we have Scottish Highland cows, like your mom and dad
Yes.
do. But we don't have like the actual agriculture background. And so I was missing that piece. And so one of my very good friends who is actually, they are crop farmers. She was just as passionate about this project as I was. And so just this summer, within the last month, we created Project Wild Rooted, where we only have about 8 courses that we're doing just this summer, just kind of, trying it out, getting our hands wet in it. But I'm really excited. We filled up really fast. And so we're really already knowing that this is going to grow. And so it's really fun. I'm 39 years old, and I'm still trying to figure out what it is I want to do when I grow up.
Yes. And I'm glad you just said that, because working in higher education, sometimes I have students that come into my office and they're just like, I don't know what I want to do. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure that we put on people these days to know exactly what you want to do when you get to college or when you graduate high school. And I think that if you do things right, that can look different throughout your life, and it can be continually evolving, especially with such cool projects like what you guys are doing. And I want to talk about, all of it, obviously, but I want to talk about you guys not having an agricultural background, yet still seeing the need for that. Walk me through that a little bit about how all of that came about.
So I grew up, we have a hobby farm, but I grew up on a hobby farm. Both my parents were farmers, and I absolutely loved going to the farm. My grandpa still had a working farm at the time when I was a child. And so we would bale hay, and he would have us rock the crops looking for, velvet leaf and all of that. And I loved the cows. I loved walking the fields. I just had such a passion for agriculture. I wanted so badly. Like when I was little, I thought I was going to marry a farmer or a rancher, and we were move over to Montana. I just have that embedded in my
Right.
soul. And when I was in high school, I was trying to find, like, my neighbor ran a farm. I thought, well, maybe, he'd hire me and I could, get up early and before school and work on his farm. I just had that desire so badly. And, I could do a little bit of that with what we had with our sheep and our pigs, but it was pretty short lived. But, we live in a rural area, but there's a ton of farmland, a lot of farm families still around, but I do see things changing. Kids are changing. When I got my master's degree, I read the book Last Child in the Woods by Richard Louv, and there is a clear nature deficit disorder out there. And that's not just with nature, but that's understanding the world around you and
Right.
having a deep connection with rural roots and how things work, how you truly get your food. There is such a misconception about farmers and what they do, and they are the smartest scientists I have ever met. I have such a deep respect for them. And I think kids just need to understand that. I'm a first grade teacher. I've taught kindergarten and first grade, and how many of my students really truly believe that chocolate milk comes from a brown cow?
Yep. Yep.
We need to be really educating our children. And people always say, well, why? But the world's changing. It doesn't really matter. It does matter, because if you don't understand the world around you, how can you be a steward of this earth? How can you truly understand it and be respectful and understand how we have such a deep connection, such a part of the world around us, and we don't want that to get lost. And so we need programs that are educating children in that. And those educational programs are honestly few and far between. And so we really want to bring that back.
Yeah. And obviously there's 4-H and FFA, but some kids who are not in a rural setting may never be exposed to that. So the fact that starting something within the school, and then obviously you guys are giving the kids an outlet outside of the school now too with your program. But honestly, I'm a firm believer that it needs to start somewhere in the elementary schools and then continue on, because that's somebody, I listened to somebody and they said something about youth is our greatest commodity as an agriculture industry. And the fact that if youth doesn't want to be involved, then how are we going to eat? Yeah.
Exactly. They have to understand how the importance of it. And, that is so true what you just said about the kids who are, having those experiences. It's why are the kids in 4-H? It's because they already have an agriculture background for the most part. Let's say 75% of the in 4-H literally live on a farm or have that ag background. Give them the confidence that they can try those new things. And even I was talking to my husband about all of the courses that we're offering in high school, like the small engines and the ag courses. Well, who are those students that are interested in taking those? The students who already have an agriculture or small motor background where their parents are already giving them hands-on experiential learning. So again, how do we get those kids hooked who don't have that? I know several kids, and me myself, really. I remember being in high school thinking, wow, I would really love to take those classes, because again, I was so interested in it, but I thought, I don't belong there. That's not who I am, and they're going to laugh at me. I don't belong there. And so I think a lot of kids feel that way, and they need to understand that you can belong anywhere that you are passionate about or that you have a desire to learn more about.
Right. Yes. Especially, I feel like in agriculture, to where they are vital, like we just mentioned, they are vital to the industry progressing and continuing. And I'm not naive to think everybody's gonna love agriculture when they learn about it. I get it, but I think just having that basic understanding of this is where your food comes from. Your chocolate milk does not come from a brown cow. And these are the people that are putting in the work and effort is such an important thing.
Right. And I mean, in just little things, I'm really excited about our upcoming session. It's, it's very basic. We're dealing with 6-year-olds, 6 through 12-year-olds, and we're actually having some preschool classes too called Little Wild Roots. But you have to start small. Like one of them is, it's called Tinkers and Chicks and Kittens. So we're going to play with the kittens and chicks. We're going to learn about chickens, why people raise chickens, what's the difference between an egg and a meat layer. Egg layer and a meat bird. And then, looking at different size eggs, we're going to allow them to crack an egg. How many kids really crack an egg and have touched the egg and have gotten gooey and gotten dirty and really understood the consistency and what is the yolk and how does the yolk get fertilized, little things like that. And then part of our program, which I love so much, this Project Wild Roots, is that it's not only giving the kids like that nature-based learning, but also that hands-on learning. So that tinker piece, kids want to learn with their hands. And so often we're saying, don't do that. Be careful. That's dangerous. No, that's mommy's tools. That's daddy's tools. We want kids to use those tools. We want them to figure it out on their own. And so a lot of it is just tinkering with nuts and bolts, figuring out what pieces go together. Some of our classes are offering actual construction. They're going to be using drills to build planters. After it's a dirt and drainage unit, we're going to be talking about sand and different soils and why certain soil is good for growing crops and even plants and flowers in your garden. And they're building planters. And so they're going to be constructing that. And of course, with our help and some support, they're going to feel really confident about being able to do that then more often on their own, just from those experiences. So all it takes is a little bit of time and energy. And sadly, in our world right now, and it's just the way it is, both parents are working full time and they hire things out. You want to change your, you hire it out.
Yep.
You want somebody to redo a bedroom in your room, you hire it out. When really, with just a little bit of time, energy, and confidence, you can do those things. And it's nice just to have that background knowledge. And of course, as an educator, I also know that the more background knowledge a child has about the world around them, then the greater the vocabulary is, the greater their comprehension is. And that's all key to building a great literacy.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you mentioned you mentioned the confidence, and I think that's huge too, because growing up is a weird time, right? There's weird situations and all of that. And so just having the confidence to know that you can do something and do it well is very positive, I think, in a world that sometimes is not so positive.
Exactly. Right. Just try, just fail. We're so afraid of failure, aren't we?
Yes. Yes.
Michelle and I are going into this whole Project Wild rooted that way. Wow, this could be a complete dud.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we tried something new. There's people are afraid to do that. And so, it's really interesting too, when we first got started and we built our website and we had our classes ready and we were ready to just launch it. And of course, the amazing thing about social media is we only have launched it on Instagram and Facebook. Within 2 hours, the sessions were filled.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
Right. There is such a need for that. So just try new things. And again, it could still be a failure. We don't know.
Right.
After this, it'll be, who knows? But from what we are already understanding, we know that it's going to grow. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that you guys have found a great way to start and a great way to, again, just kind of get kids involved and help build the confidence and do all of the things that we just talked about. I think you're going to be surprised at how well it really does go, how well it goes and how much it takes off.
Yeah, I think so.
So I do want to come back a little bit to Wood Pallet Treasures, because you guys do, and I know you mentioned quite a few of the things that you build and do, but how did that start? Like, how did you see a pallet in a dumpster and you're like, oh, maybe I can make that into something, or what? Okay. How did it begin?
It's so funny because I think it was trending too, like at the time. And I think it was pallets in general, like just the pallets. And Travis had always thought, well, that's silly, because he works in construction. Like he just
that's garbage, right?
Right. At the time he was, but I was at a bridal shower and I was walking around with my mother-in-law, and I'm always more of like I love handmade gifts and things that are just, they come from the heart kind of a thing. And I was walking around looking at the home with my mother-in-law, and she pointed to a wine rack that was built out of a pallet. And she's like, oh, that's so cool. I would love something like that. And I took out my camera, took a little picture, said, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Christmas gift there.
There you go.
We're done, you know? And I sent it to, or showed it to Travis when I got home, and I said, hey, perfect gift for your mom. She wants this. And he was like, yeah, it's going to take me like 5 minutes. I can totally do that. And so from there, we started building, and then of course, making more of our own twist on them. I was leaving some natural. I was, painting some, staining some. I just fell in love with the grains of wood. And there's so many, and of course he knew all of this. I was just new to this whole world of wood and all of the different types of trees and where wood comes from, and how like old wood looks so much differently than the newer wood. And when you sand them down and you stain them, the coloring and the texture, everything is just so different. And I just fell in love with that. He still thinks I'm a bit crazy, but from there were so many requests. He was like, this is crazy. This is nuts. I said, well, we're going to start a little Etsy shop, and we're going to see where this takes off. And I had, again, no business background, didn't know what I was doing, built the Etsy shop, had a name. And that was interesting. Our Wood Pallet Treasure name was literally a hashtag. I think once I posted a couple of, it's a treasure made out of, recycled wood.
Right.
And that stuck. And so that's what I named our Etsy shop. And when it started getting to the point where I was like, wow, Travis, this could really be something. We made our business official within the state of Minnesota. We actually trademarked. And then honestly, since then, it's all been just media marketing. And it's not even a lot. It's just amazing how things have just taken off a lot, really just authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now after going rooted, I start, you start using some actual useful tools that you can really grow. So
yeah,
but it's hard when you work.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I know the word like small business or like side hustle, I feel like is not even really applicable to most things because it's a full-time job outside of your full-time job.
Well, and that's the thing. And we just made a fun little reel kind of just depicting that, like, a small business is not just, we build something, we sell it. There is such a crazy amount of time spent behind the scenes, especially for us where, we don't buy wood from the store, thank goodness, with the price of,
oh yeah.
But we find pallets. People seek out us usually if they have a load. They're like, hey, I need these pallets out of my shop or out of my yard. Please come get them. That takes time. It takes a lot of time and energy. We store them now at our home. Everything's off of our residency. And then, cutting the pallets apart, sanding them down, getting the right boards for the right projects. When we used to do a ton of pallet walls, and we kind of stopped doing those just because of the time and commitment and energy really it took. But 1,000 boards we would prepare and haul to these different locations to do. And then of course there's the marketing piece, and then there's the sales piece. When a business or a customer reaches out to me, it's me, like on my phone. Shipping department, hey, I'm your girl. That's me. We have a great relationship with our local hardware store. I'm constantly on the phone or texting them, hey, we need this. Can you get this? Can you find this? I want to shop as local as possible. But it's interesting too, because when we first started, we were working on a little wood shop at my in-laws' place, which is actually 2 miles down. We didn't have sorry, I had to delete a call there. We didn't have our place. So every night trying to fill a couple orders, dragging our toddlers with us. I think when they're in first grade. And doing the whole, like, I'd leave early to home to bed, and then Travis would stay later. And we finally, when things were growing, just built a nice big pull shed here at our location. And it has just been such a wonderful investment and such a blessing. It's just amazing how when you really do follow your desires and do what it is that you truly want to do, and you're not afraid to do it, how much joy that really brings in your life, into your family.
Yeah, absolutely. And just leaning into all of that. And I feel like it just makes things are just I don't know, lighter, if that makes sense. Like you just, it's just not as stressful, and not that there isn't stress that comes with it, but it's just not as much, I think, outside pressure. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
I agree. I it's when you're doing something that you love and you are passionate about, it's not as much work. I mean, sure, it's work, but it's not hard work. It's easy
yes,
work. It's natural work. And then you're so right about that. You're not as worried about what other people are saying or thinking. You're just doing something that you know that you're meant to do.
right.
And I think when coming back to what you had said earlier about the pressure of kids trying to figure out what it is they want to do when they're 18 years old, because college is so expensive,
Yes.
they need to just stop and reflect and really maybe even take some time to really figure out what it is that they enjoy doing. Um, that exercise that we did at Rural Rooted, where we laid on the floor and we closed our eyes and we talked to our younger self.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I talked to my 7-year-old self, and I was in the woods digging a hole, making my nature stew that I used to make when I was little. And that really just brought tears to my eyes when we did that, because that's kind of when Project Wild Rooted really sparked me too, because, who you are as a child and those things that you really truly enjoyed are embedded deep within your soul, and they do get clouded over and washed away by friends, time commitments, other interests of ours. But we really need to be in tune with who it is and who we are at the deep root of our soul, because those things truly do come out as your true passions later on.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing right now, like teaching, working with my hands, being outside in the woods, you know, just,
Right.
yeah,
Following your dreams and passions.
yeah.
So what is something that you would maybe give advice or tell somebody who is worried about leaning into that a little bit, as far as following their dreams or passions, and like worrying again about maybe what other people are thinking, or having the full-time job and not sure if they can manage it all? What's something piece of advice you would give them?
Well, you definitely have to be disciplined. That's for one. I make a list every single night of what it is that I have to do.
Me too.
I don't sit on the couch and eat chips and watch my favorite show at night. That's just not who I am. And I'm not saying that you can't do that and have a successful, side hustle,
Mm-hmm.
but it depends on what it is. I mean, you really have to be invested, and you have to just, my husband's trying to get a hold of me. Really have to be invested in working hard and setting kind of up a plan for yourself. But the thing is, you really need to figure out the pros and cons to it. How is this going to benefit me? Is it just going to be something that I'm passionate about? Is it going to be a money maker? And who's my audience? Who's going to be interested in this?
Yeah.
But I absolutely 100% will always tell people, if it's something that you are passionate about and want to do, then just do it. Like, that's what we didn't have necessarily a business plan. That's so many people said that, oh, what's your business plan? We don't have a business plan. We don't have a business plan. We still don't have a business plan, but we're successful in what we do.
Right.
We didn't,
right.
because I didn't need a loan. There's ways to do it, especially with your marketing on social media. You don't need any of that. You just need to have the energy, and you need to just show it on your face, and you have to believe in yourself and just do it. And don't be afraid to change it. If you start one way and it's not working, oops, we're going in this direction now.
Yeah.
And
you can always change things, because there isn't a set in stone way that it has to happen.
Right. Like right now, we are still successful on Etsy. So many people have said, you really need a website, which is right. We do. We absolutely do. It's actually one on my list of things to do. After 5 years, we're finally going to get a website. But it's worked for us not to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And now is the time. So you should never feel pressure to just to do all these things that you see other people doing, or, oh, that's what they say. Oh, technically the right way. I don't even believe that there's ever a right way. It's just what works for you. Yep. And if it works, then keep doing it. If it's time to change, then don't be afraid to change it up.
Yep. 100%. Well, Laura, I feel like the time actually flew by today. But thank you so much for spending some time chatting with me. Are you ready for your rapid fire questions?
Yes, I'm super nervous.
Okay, so they're super random. I need to find a better place to pull some of these from, but the first one is how many keys do you have on your keychain?
And I answer this right now. I have two.
Two? Dang, I have way too many keys on my keychains. I
I
need to
don't,
consolidate.
I shouldn't even say this on here, but I hate locking things up.
Well, when you live out in the country, you don't always need that.
Well, and
You
I'm
know what
just
I
such
mean?
a, like, yes, I have my car keys. I have my house key. I don't,
Yep.
that's it. I don't want to, my brain is too frazzled to have anything else.
Don't need any more clutter.
Yeah.
Okay, second question is if they were to make a light or a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm so bad at actors and
Me
actresses'
too. I'm
names.
terrible. I'm the worst
Yeah,
at them.
and I have like certain ones that I absolutely love, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they remind, and I can't even think of who they are. It has to be somebody who's just super like has a lot of energy and passion.
Yes.
I used to think Joel from Heartland would be a good one, but she's not. She doesn't have enough energy. Doesn't
Mhm.
have enough.
And then the third one is what is your favorite summer activity?
Oh gosh, I love being outside in the heat and the sun. I don't necessarily love being in the water. I love being on the boat. I love running. I love being dirty. I love being in my garden. Oh my gosh, I love my garden.
So
Just
anything warm outside weather you're about, basically.
well, yeah, we only get like 3 months of it, so
That's true. Yes. Being in Minnesota, you have to definitely take advantage of that time.
yes, for sure. I'm like, kids, get outside right now.
Go, go, go. Well, Laura, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about everything that you guys have going on. I cannot wait to see everything unfold. I think it's going to be very successful. But if you could tell us where to connect with you if people are wanting to get in touch or find out more information.
Yes, absolutely. Always Instagram is the number one place. Find us at Wood Pallet Treasures and also Project Wild Rooted. We also have a website, projectwildrooted.com. Check out there. And then soon Wood Pallet Treasures will have an actual website, which that will be woodpallettreasures.com as well. So
Awesome. And I will be sure to put all that information in the description box if you are wanting that or didn't catch it. But again, Laura, thanks so much. And I really cannot wait to see how all of these things take off for y'all.
well, and thank you, Allie. This has been so fun. Thank you so much for offering this to us. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely.